again.
Yeah. Well,
Jeez, a bunch of freaking amateurs here. No, just kidding.
it's okay. I'll help him fix the
Guilty,
audio
guilty
later.
as charged.
Hello and welcome back to another Linux A team for this April 17th, 2020. And the way things are going, this is more like the Linux B team. We were having audio issues and connection issues and some guy stuffing his mouth here with food. That's our friend Ricky. We still love you, Ricky. That's okay. Hey, I'm Italian. So look, I'm chilled, man. I had a small glass of wine just to relax. I'm doing fine. So
Ben's here with a diet root beer.
Whilst he's waiting for all of us to
just a
finish
small
most of it.
glass. Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not drink all of it, obviously. Well, maybe half. No,
Thank
but
God.
all right. So for this Linux A team, why Windows users should switch to Linux. Before we go there, a quick news nonsense about a couple weeks ago, guys. You saw the news of these new smart toilets in the anal print, right? I guess it can scan you from your side of the bottom, and it can detect who you are, or if you're sick, or if you have a disease, or something like that. But the funny part is it's powered by Raspberry Pi.
Really?
That's what I read. So evidently, the future of Linux is up your wazoo.
Oh, God.
That's my joke. Okay, let's move on.
Oh,
It was too easy, right? Okay.
yeah. That was too easy.
All right. So, a couple, actually it was yesterday, another update, Windows update, 10 update, breaks something else. And this time it breaks Windows Defender, which means you install the update, you may not have your
Antivirus.
working. And of course, you should not run Windows without some kind of protection. Now, I know you can't install another antivirus, and you probably should at this point. But this has been a long list of problems with Windows 10 updates. And really, since the beginning, they've had their issues. I mean, this is bizarre, because this is not a fly-by-night company. This is a company that's well off. I think, didn't they just hit $1 trillion value, kind of like the Apple company? And I think it's Google. So this is not a fly-by-night. They have the resources mentally. Well, maybe not mentally now, and financially. And I know I'll never get a sponsorship offer from Microsoft, but that's okay. So this is unacceptable. They know how to build a good system. Windows 7, how long did that last? Windows XP, how long did that last? But this issue with the updates, not knowing if and when it'll break your system or something in the system is unacceptable. So my reasoning why Windows users should switch to Linux is because Windows 10 can no longer be trusted. And that's why Windows users now more than ever should switch to Linux. Now, you can define it any way you want to. You use ThinkPad and you download your favorite Linux distro, that's fine. Or you buy a Mac, well, Mac's some more Unix, or you buy a Chromebook. But nowadays, I think all things considered, I'm starting to get the feeling that Microsoft just doesn't care that much about Windows 10 support. But that's my reasoning behind why you should switch. Years ago, I would have said no. But now, I think you should. Steve, what say you?
Okay. Sorry about the drop off there. I agree with what you say. Although my wife's little Asus laptop, unfortunately, has not had any problems with the updates in the 3 years. I have not seen any of the issues, but I did not check for the Windows Defender thing. It did its update, must have done it last night. I saw that it was waiting there. I was going to do it when I got home today. So I'll have to check that. It is kind of sorrowful that, something that we've depended on for years that worked really well is Linux is running better, easier to fix, even with some of its bugs. It's pretty much ridiculous, if you ask me. and you did. But
Yeah. Vince, what say you?
Well, I was thinking to myself. I mean, I'm for one will put my hand up and say that I've been guilty of Windows bashing in my time, and I mean nobody's really forcing anybody to change anything, um, and there are definitely legitimate uses for Windows. I mean, I follow guys like English Bob and Zebedee Boss, and they're actually all back on Windows with their gaming. They're playing World of Warships and saying that it works and showing that it works a lot better on Windows. There are also going to be reasons for businesses to use Windows. But I mean, I think what might be helpful is really trying to point out the benefits of Linux or other alternative operating systems. I, for one, in sort of how many years of using Windows 10? Has it been out 4 or 5 years now? I haven't had any problems with Windows 10 myself. The updates come through, and so I keep reading about these problems with their updates, and I'm not trying to defend Windows here.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely going to be people who have run into these problems, and if you lose your data, that's a big problem. If you get a virus, that's a big problem. But I'm keen to maybe just point out some of the real benefits of using Linux.
Okay, fair enough.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now Windows 10 is my backup OS. I haven't had those major issues. I had the one; it was my son's machine, but I mean, it should not. It should not have been that big of. I should not have had to reinstall the system. That's just what irked me. Normally no sound will just uninstall the update or reinstall the sound driver or do this, do that, reboot. It didn't work. I'm like, it's so bizarre. I had to reinstall it. It was just faster for me just to reinstall it than to search online for a solution.
Yeah.
It just doesn't worth wasting time, for something that should not have happened in the first place.
And how long did it take you to install Windows there?
Luckily, not that long, because these machines have a locked off partition. What you do is reboot, and you hit F2 or delete or escape, and you have the option to reinstall Windows from that partition that's separated. Now, luckily, all the school documents were online or on a USB drive, so he just re-downloaded them. Of course, any software he needed to reinstall it. I mean, it wasn't that painful, but it just should not have happened, period. Now, if it's a beta or something in testing, we all get that, especially with Linux. But last time I checked, Windows 10 was finalized. Or is it still a perpetual beta? Maybe it's still in beta, silly me, Toss,
Oh, it's a rolling distro, you got to give it that.
Yeah, well, they're rolling
You gotta
in
give
it.
it that. Yeah.
They're rolling
It's
in
a
it, all right.
OS. What can you say?
Yeah, well, I still have a long time problem. I forget what update it was, but it was about a year ago. Bluetooth was working fine on it. My wife stole my Bluetooth speaker. Then all of a sudden it just stopped. It would connect, but then it would drop off every time you would play whatever music or audio in that. So we have to use the plug-in adapter to plug it into her, and I've never been able to get it fixed.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of like me with these AirPods, from Apple. Whenever I plug them into Linux, doesn't stay connected. But whenever I plug them into a Mac or a Windows, they work fine. So that's a similar thing with me, Steve. If I put them on Linux, doesn't take. So I feel your pain, man. I mean, Bluetooth and me on Linux, not a happy thing.
Interesting. I haven't had that problem.
No, it's okay.
Geez,
but
chill. Here, have a glass of wine.
I get it,
chill.
No, I get it,
yeah.
man.
Have a glass.
Yeah. Every distro I've tested, whether it's that Broadcom piece of crap over there or this Realtek over here, neither are working okay.
But
with my Bluetooth devices.
have updates consistently broken something in your system, like Windows 10?
Not in my history of using it. No.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I run Arch, by the way.
Okay. Okay. Vince, I'll send you the Motrin for you. There you go, buddy. Well, Ricky, what are your thoughts on why Windows users should switch to Linux?
Unmute
Well,
first, buddy.
well,
Yeah.
basically, I said this once and I'll say it again, and I know that this is an issue that some Linux users can agree with, some can't. It's the privacy and the data collection. Plain and simple.
Yeah, man. Well,
But
privacy and data collection is always a problem.
but the thing is, though, once you get on the internet, how can you
There's
tell
no
if it's
such
safe?
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
The other main issue that I see with switching from with a Windows user switching to Linux is basically the updates. That's basically the only other issue. Other than that, Windows is fine.
Okay. Well, like I said, it hasn't affected everybody. At least I don't think so. You know, I'm not even sure anymore. But I think it has affected enough people, either once or more, including myself, where it should not happen. It just should not. You know, these are issues where, you know, in the past you would have problems running a Linux distro. Oh, I did an update or I installed it, but I can't get the sound to work or this to work. But this used to be years ago. I don't have those kind of issues now, at least not in the systems that I'm. Maybe I'm just lucky with the hardware, Dell and ThinkPads and my gateway. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Of course, my Chromebook, but I'm not really installing anything. It just comes with Chrome OS, you know. But I think out there right now, if you are thinking about trying Linux, now might be the best time. I have not had. I can't think of the last time where an update broke something or deleted something or I couldn't reboot or deleted my start menu. That takes talent for a Windows update to delete your start menu. That's yeah, wasn't that on the news some time ago? It did something with the start, you know, with the launcher. That's quite a task,
Yeah.
you know.
That's
Wow.
gotta be some poor as heck programmer's mistake.